I'm Venu Keller. Welcome to Venu Inspires. It's time to give your children a childhood they won't have to heal from. Good morning and welcome to Wednesday Wisdom with Venu Keller. Today I wanted to talk about one of the 7 habits. And, we talked about this a couple weeks ago, and then yesterday we just had part 2 with my friend Eric, who goes around the world to so many different schools, talking to teachers and students about the 7 habits of highly effective families. And so I wanted to talk about number 5, like listening to understand and what that means. When we communicate with our children, many of us, me included, especially if you listened to the show yesterday, talk about when we're talking with our children, are we listening to resolve what they're saying? Are we listening to them to, be commentary with them? Or sometimes we're blaming them. Well, if you would have done this, you should have done that. And, why didn't you? And sometimes and I know I'm very guilty of this. I'll say, I appreciate what you're saying. And so, speaking with Eric on my show yesterday, it really made a difference to hear what he was saying about this habit and to really understand, are we listening with empathy? Are we listening to our kids when they're talking to us in regards to what's the feeling they're having when they're talking to us? What is their body language saying? What is their tonality saying? Is this something that they're concerned about? Is this something they're angry about? Is this something that they're sad about? Is this something that they're confused about? And then checking in with us, going back to the first habit, are we being reactive? Or are we really just taking the time to understand their model of the world, of where they're coming from, and how we can best support them? Sometimes just being able to listen to them and rephrase, paraphrase what they're saying, instead of saying, I appreciate you're saying that. And it's, so this is what I hear you telling me. What I hear you telling me is you are concerned that, whatever, that you're not going to do well on your spelling test, or you're concerned that you don't know your math well enough and you have a test and it's kind of scaring you. And giving them an opportunity to respond, yes, that's exactly what I'm saying, or no, Mom, no, that's not what I'm saying at all. Okay, I apologize. I'm not hearing you right. So help me understand what you're saying to me. And then when they tell you again, paraphrase it. So this is what, I hear you saying. And once they agree with you, you can ask them, how can I support you? What can I do to help you feel more confident in taking that test in math or taking that spelling test? Is there a way that I can help you study? Is there someone I need to call? Do I need to get you extra tutoring? What specifically can I do to support you? Think about a time where you were having a conversation with your child and things just weren't going great. It ended up being more of a power struggle. In my show, I was talking about, in yesterday's show, I was saying how my daughter and I constantly have this battle on Fridays because she goes to a school where they wear uniforms. And on Fridays, it's dress down day. And my daughter already has a lot of sensory issues with what she wears. And, in her mind, as I have taught her, that, our outside reflects what our insides are feeling in that moment. And so she comes back and says, well, my insides are saying I feel comfortable. Her idea of comfortable is wearing the play clothes that she goes and paints in or plays in the dirt in and gardens and all that. My idea of comfortable is not that at all. And so, talking to her coach, I created a different strategy where these are your clothes for school, going out to dinner, going to a friend's house. And these are your clothes for painting, digging in the dirt, gardening with your dad, building things in the garage with your dad, so she still has choice. And yet I'm guiding her to teach her, there's different situations that we dress differently in. And as her parent, I feel that that is my job to guide her in understanding that. So when she is an adult, she has a fair opportunity to make the right choice for her. With that all being said, we have planned out the night before what she wears. And unfortunately, she likes to change that at the last minute on Fridays. So we have this combativeness. And like my friend Eric had pointed out, sometimes that comes from me being rushed. Like, we got to get to school. We're supposed to be in the car. And now we're sitting here arguing about your clothes that we already had situated. And so we go back and forth. And what I have realized that I am not understanding with empathy. I'm not hearing her through empathy. All I am concerned about is getting them to school on time and me getting to my next appointment on time. And so I feel very rushed. So rush is the emotions I'm feeling in that moment, which is guiding what I'm saying. It's guiding what I'm thinking and what my actions, my behavior. So now I have a new tool to really be present with what I'm feeling, let go of it in that moment, and really hear what she's saying. Understand what she's saying with empathy. What is she feeling about it? And have a healthy discussion so she can appreciate where I'm coming from as well. Because I know I talk a lot about how do we appreciate where our kids are coming from? How do we allow us to create that open and safe and trusting space for them so they do feel heard and seen and appreciated? And us as parents need that too. Us parents need to know that our kids at any age is understanding what we're saying. That is why we communicate different. We communicate different when they're 1 versus when they're 5 versus when they're 16 versus when they're 28. There's just different ways we communicate because our brain is able to understand us in a way that's more mature or, equipped for what we're talking about. So, I can totally relate that me as a parent, I want to be appreciated too. I want to be understood too. So it's modeling that for them. So our kids will learn from what they see us do, what we model on a consistent basis. And that's why these are called the habits, right? So really pay attention to the next conversation you have. And this is even with your partner, your spouse, a friend, your boss. Be mindful of how you're listening. Are you listening to respond? Are you listening to your emotions? Are you listening to understand where that person's coming from to have a good, clear communication? Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you next Wednesday.